Slade Wilson just got a major mission: hunt down Lobo. But can Deathstroke actually handle the sheer brutality of the main man? And what's the real story behind Lobo landing on Earth and wreaking havoc across Prime Earth? Well, we're breaking it all down right here. Huge thanks for clicking on this video. I hope you guys enjoy this Deathstroke tale. So grab your popcorn and sit tight. Without further ado, let's leap in. The scene kicks off with Slade Wilson visiting his wife's grave. So 5 years ago, Slade lost his wife, and that exact moment changed his life forever. He turned into a cold-blooded mercenary, taking countless lives. Honestly, ever since she passed, Slade has never been more lost. Even though Deathstroke is filthy rich, money can't buy him happiness without his wife by his side. It turns out Slade really has a deep love for his family, huh? But suddenly, he senses something. He feels a shift in the air, like something is charging at him at high speed. And sure enough, right behind Slade, a figure tries to lung at him. But Slade quickly spins around and grabs the guy by the throat. He looks like some kind of wolf man, but Slade realizes this creature isn't from Earth. He's an alien. He doesn't smell like an animal at all. Deathstroke slams him against a tree and puts on his mask. He's ready to scrap. By the way, any Deathstroke fans out there? Let me know in the comments. Then, out of the blue, a bunch of masked soldiers surround him. But Deathstroke notices these guys are totally uncoordinated. With ease, Slade picks them apart and takes them down. However, he realizes he's not just being attacked, he's being tested. Someone wants to see what he's made of. Slade just wants to end this quickly. He fires up the laser energy from his staff and goes on the offensive. With a few blasts, he drops several of them. Okay, here's the cool part. Slade is a modified human. His brain is upgraded like a supercomputer that can process tactics and situations instantly. Add his super strength to that, and he's incredibly dangerous. But mid-fight, Slade's body suddenly lifts into the air. Turns out another alien has appeared, and he's a telekinetic, meaning he can move objects and people with his mind. This time, he hoists Slade about 15 feet up. But Slade stays cool, even as more minions show up. Why? Because Slade already set up tons of traps in the area, ready to blow at any second. Once the goons are exactly where he wants them, Deathstroke hits a button on his device. The result? Boom! A massive explosion rocks the cemetery, wiping out the squad and breaking the telekinetic alien's focus. Slade immediately lands a punch, knocking the alien out and breaking the psychic hold. But then, from a distance, someone cheers. "Bravo, Mr. Wilson!" Who is that? Two more figures appear before Slade, and I'm not even sure if they're aliens or not. Looks like he's the leader of this whole crew. And just as Slade suspected, this whole ambush was just a stunt to test his skills. An annoyed Slade points his gun at the telekinetic alien, demanding to know what the heck is going on. The man explains his name is Maxim, and he and his crew approach Deathstroke because they need a favor. They want Deathstroke to catch a feral alien that escaped their facility. This guy is considered the ultimate predator of the galaxy. Maxim then introduces his team: Callista, the woman next to him, Tigor, the wolf alien from earlier, and Primus, the guy Slade is currently holding at gunpoint. Maxim says their group is called the Omegas, then asks for Slade's answer. And Deathstroke is actually interested. He wants all the intel on this target before making a final call. Once he's fully suited up in his armor, he's ready to move. Maxim mentions his chopper will take Slade to the Omega facility. They head out to the base. At the very least, Slade warns Maxim that his armor is rigged with bombs that'll blow if Maxim tries anything funny. Classic Slade, always prepared. They arrive at the facility, where Slade is greeted by a mysterious figure. Maxim introduces her as the head of security. And this person is Zealot, an alien from planet Kara who actually used to date Slade. Though yeah, their breakup wasn't exactly amicable. Basically, Zealot is totally downplaying Slade in this scene, acting like he isn't strong enough to catch the runaway alien. Slade fires back, asking how the alien even escaped the facility in the first place. But Zealot clarifies the alien didn't escape this base, but a different one in Colorado, where she wasn't in charge. With a cold stare, Zealot says, "Regardless, I'm ready to help." Slade quickly snaps back that he works alone. But Maxim cuts in, saying that on the field, Zealot and the Omegas will be involved. Well, lucky for them, Slade hasn't officially signed on yet. Okay, on to the next page, where Slade and Zealot are bumping heads. Zealot thinks Slade will need to rely on her and the Omegas if things get tough. But Slade, being as arrogant as we know him, says the Omegas aren't ready for the field. The proof? He wiped them out at the cemetery. But since time is running out, Slade finally agrees to the deal, though deep down, he's ready to take out the Omegas and Zealot if he has to. Then, the screen in front of them flickers on. And the shocker is, the alien they held in Colorado is actually Lobo. In the footage, we see Lobo was being poked and prodded for experiments, until one day, his restraints just clicked open, giving him a chance to bolt. The mystery remains. How did those restraints even unlock? Suddenly, Lobo walks out. We all know how tanky Lobo is. You can't even put him down with heavy-duty bullets. He tears through the guards in the control room, getting closer to his escape. Just then, a whole squad of facility guards shows up to stop him. But one thing we know about Lobo is that he is brutal. With sheer savagery, he finishes off the guards in ways that, honestly, I don't even want to describe here. You can see the visuals for yourself. Basically, Lobo wipes them all out and plans to reclaim his ship before coming back to trash the Earth. And on the final page of Part 1, Lobo says that before he ends humanity, he's going to hunt down Maxim first. He swears to kill anyone who gets in his way of finding Maxim. Okay, things are getting spicy. Okay, Part 2 kicks off with Lobo chilling at a diner. People are just staring at him, half confused, half absolutely terrified. The funny thing here is the narrator mentions Lobo ordered literally everything on the menu. Every single item. Man, it's like he hasn't eaten in days. A waitress comes over and tells Lobo her manager is wondering how he's actually going to pay for all this food. Lobo's response? He says he'll let them live when he eventually blows up the planet. What a psycho. Then, some guy walks up and tells Lobo to keep it down because he and his buddy are trying to eat. But Lobo? He's just staring at the guy's bike he saw parked outside. Suddenly, Lobo hurls the guy into a donut rack so hard the whole thing shatters. Nobody nearby dares to help. I mean, would you? It's Lobo. He walks over, grabs the guy's keys from his pocket, and casually tells the other customers to enjoy their final hours on Earth. Cold-blooded. Lobo hops on the bike and speeds off. Truth is, he actually wanted to level the whole diner, just for fun. But he figures that'd draw too much heat and bring the army down on him. Not that he's scared, he's just not ready yet. He needs to get his ship back before the real mission starts. Cut back to Deathstroke. Right now, he, Zealot, and the Omegas are standing at a disposal tower at Maxim's Colorado facility. Here's the deal. To track Lobo, they have to get inside. But since Lobo trashed the front doors, the only way in is through this massive smoking chimney. It's basically a giant exhaust pipe. Deathstroke tells them to drop the ropes, insisting only he and Zealot are going down. The Omegas? They're staying up top, probably grabbing some popcorn. As they descend, Zealot warns Slade there might be nothing left but blood and chaos inside. But for a guy like Deathstroke, that's just another Tuesday, right? Inside, they move through the dark halls looking for clues. Slade wonders if there are other prisoners, but Zealot is laser-focused on Lobo. Suddenly, a massive alien blindsides Slade with a heavy hit. It's a huge brute from the planet Kund. Zealot reacts instantly, jumping into the fray against the giant. The alien calls himself Karlak, another prisoner from this facility. He's furious and wants to kill Lobo for leaving him behind. He even thinks Slade and Zealot are Lobo's partners. Even though Deathstroke tells him they aren't, Karlak isn't buying it and moves to attack Zealot again. Luckily, Tigor jumps in and ambushes Karlak from behind. Talk about an alien Royal Rumble. Looks like Tigor and Karlak have some bad history too. But Tigor didn't come alone. Primus shows up and uses his telekinesis to slam Karlak against the wall. From what they're saying, it seems Tigor and Primus might be the last survivors of their races. Deathstroke leaps toward Karlak and tells Primus to let go. Slade needs Karlak alive to find Lobo, but he's going to beat the info out of him first. Deathstroke starts landing heavy hits, catching the giant off guard. Seeing an opening, Slade yells for Zealot to strike. But Karlak is ready this time and blocks her. He mumbles something about nth metal, which, to be honest, I'm not sure how it connects to everyone here. I thought nth metal was just for Hawkman's gear, right? If you guys know the lore, drop a comment below. Either way, Karlach manages to push back both Zealot and Deathstroke. Fortunately, he's up against the main character, so Deathstroke isn't losing this. Slade drops Karlach and demands to know why Lobo left him behind. Karlach just looks at him and says, "He has a death wish that I don't share, human." Wait, what does that even mean? But man, Karlach is tough. He knocks Slade back, breaks free, and grabs Callista. He wants to kidnap her, claiming she's as valuable as nth metal. Plus, she's royalty from Euphorix. Zealot, who swore to protect her, doesn't hesitate. She drives her sword right through Karlach's back. Karlach collapses. He's done for. But wait, he hasn't told Slade about Lobo yet. Slade rushes over, asking what Lobo's plan is before the alien kicks the bucket. Sarcastic note. I guess interrogating a dying alien is Slade's version of a great idea, huh? Since Karlach is stalling, Slade threatens to let Tigor and Primus rip him apart. Finally, Karlach spills it. He says Lobo is heading for Starpoint to activate the World Breaker and destroy Earth, just like he did to his own planet. So, Lobo is basically going for a sequel to his own genocide? The scene shifts to Colorado at night. We see guards scattered near a broken fence, and trust me, it's gruesome. Then we see Lobo standing over a massive hole in the ground. He commands, "Starpoint, commence decloaking." Suddenly, the shadow of an alien ship begins to emerge. Is this it? The ship finally appears, and man, it is massive. This has to be the vessel that brought him to Earth. Lobo looks genuinely hyped to be back. He mutters that soon he and Sheba will be reunited, and then they'll burn the Earth to the ground. Wait, as in Princess Sheba, his one true love? Deathstroke, Zealot, and the crew are hauling organized chaos in their ship towards Starpoint, chasing down Lobo. Now, for those of you who don't know Lobo, let me catch you up. He's an alien from the planet Sarnia. And get this, he's the only living soul left from that world because he personally wiped out his entire species. Why? Well, that's a story for another day. On the way, we find out why Primus, Tigor, and Callista are actually working with Maxim. Turns out, they all have a dark history with Lobo. Their parents were once enslaved by him, and that's exactly what fueled their bond to hunt him down. So yeah, this is a full-on revenge mission. Anyway, in the final panel, Deathstroke tells everyone to gear up. Then, Zealot drops some lore on how Lobo ended up on Earth. So, Lobo was a brutal slave master, but there was one exception, Sheba. Sheba, or Princess Sheba, is another Zarnian survivor who's just as vicious as Lobo. He genuinely loved her. She's probably the only person he's ever treated with respect. At one point, their ship was jumped by space pirates. Lobo won the fight, obviously, but their ship was trashed and slammed into Earth. Lobo was found unconscious, but Sheba? She vanished without a trace. During that crash, Lobo's slaves managed to escape and started new lives on Earth. They cut off all ties to stay under the radar of humans. Over time, they basically blended in, fell in love, and started families with people here. But unfortunately, no matter how well they hid, they were eventually tracked down. And that's the whole reason Maxim's company exists. Their goal is to protect these alien descendants so they aren't hunted or treated like monsters. Anyway, they've finally reached Starpoint. Everyone heads inside, except for Callista, who stays behind to monitor the perimeter. Okay, this is where the climax kicks off. Inside Starpoint, Lobo is checking the ship's systems. From the looks of it, the ship is in pretty good shape. In fact, the reactor is siphoning energy directly from the Earth's core, more than enough to blow the entire planet to smithereens. Lobo is officially one step away from finishing his revenge. Lobo claims he won't even be around when Earth pops. Wait, is he planning to trigger a meltdown that takes the whole planet with it? That's insane. He heads over to his legendary bike, the Spazfrag 666, which will carry him away so he can reunite with Sheba. But we still have no clue where she actually is. Deathstroke and the squad finally make it inside the vessel. Getting in was surprisingly easy since the doors were left wide open. Callista radios in saying Lobo isn't in their immediate sights yet. So far, so good. They push deeper into the ship, but Zealot warns everyone to stay on high alert. They reach level 3, and everything seems quiet. Callista hasn't spotted anything until Lobo suddenly lunges out of nowhere. He tackles Slade, screaming at him to get the hell off his ship. Lobo starts pummeling Deathstroke with hits that would have killed a normal human instantly. Tigor tries to jump in and help, but Lobo swats him away like a fly. He mocks Tigor, calling him a half-breed whose life is worthless. Man, this guy is just pure evil, isn't he? Luckily, Zealot steps in and lands a solid blow on Lobo. It's becoming clear that Lobo is way too tanky to be taken down by just one person. Even Zealot's best moves barely slow him down. But Deathstroke is back on his feet now, and the whole team starts ganging up on him. Finally, they've got some momentum. Slade is relentless, landing hit after hit on the main man. In his mind, this mission is the ultimate challenge, and to prove he's the best, he has to beat Lobo. It's all about that ego and validation for him. But in the final panel, with a terrifying smirk, Lobo just asks, "That all you got?" With his insane strength, Lobo shoves Slade, launching him into the air. But while airborne, Slade pulls his twin pistols and opens fire. At point-blank range, Slade blasts Lobo right in the face. Honestly, this is one of the most satisfying panels in the whole story for me. And he's not done. Deathstroke grabs 2 thermal detonators and tosses them straight at Lobo. They stick right to his face and chest before detonating instantly. Slade hopes that's enough to finally put him down. But nope. Lobo is still standing, even with his face and chest completely shredded. He's still smirking at Slade. And here's the terrifying part. Lobo's mangled body starts knitting itself back together in seconds. Healing factor. It's like fighting a version of Wolverine that has super strength and a genius-level IQ. As soon as he's healed up, Lobo goes right back to beating the life out of Deathstroke. The hits are so brutal that part of Deathstroke's mask actually shatters. But Lobo doesn't stop. He's getting even more feral as he wails on Slade. There's some more dialogue about nth metal here, but again, help me out in the comments if you know the details. Meanwhile, Deathstroke is looking helpless and looks like he's about to give up. Lobo grabs Deathstroke by the head and hoists him into the air. He actually gives Slade a compliment for lasting this long. I guess he's never fought Superman before, but Lobo tells him it's all for nothing because the planet is about to blow anyway. And looking around, Starpoint's reactor is clearly overloading. It's about to go off. Things are getting desperate at Starpoint. Deathstroke is still in Lobo's grip, and honestly, it looks like game over. Meanwhile, the ship is seconds away from blowing. But can we talk about Zealot and the others for a second? Why are they just standing there while Slade is getting choked out? Lobo looks like he's actually enjoying the moment, ready to snap Deathstroke's neck. But Slade? He delivers a swift kick to Lobo's family jewels, forcing the main man to let go. Slade quickly dives into a nearby hatch, but Lobo doesn't even care. He figures everyone's dying in the explosion anyway. Then, Tigor bites Lobo from behind, going full beast mode. Where were you, Tigor? Didn't you see Lobo was strangling at Slade? Turns out, Tigor's dad tried the same move on Lobo and failed miserably. True to form, Lobo shakes him off effortlessly, tossing Tigor back until he reverts to his normal self. Next up, Primus appears, claiming Lobo's day of reckoning is over. But Lobo just mocks him, saying he's all talk just like his father. That hits a nerve. Primus snaps, using his telepathy to slam Lobo against the wall. He is absolutely livid now. Okay, here's the big twist. Primus actually disarmed the bomb, so Starpoint isn't going to explode. Why? Because Primus plans to hijack the ship and leave Earth with the other Omegas. Even crazier, Primus was the one who unlocked Lobo's restraints in the first place, using the chaos to lead himself here. He's been playing Lobo this whole time. But just as Primus is about to finish Lobo off, Zealot steps in, saying Primus has gone way too far. She's disgusted by his betrayal, but Primus couldn't care less. He just wants off this rock. But since he's too busy arguing with Zealot, he loses his psychic grip on Lobo. And you guessed it, Lobo immediately clocks him. Now it's just Zealot versus Lobo, one-on-one. At least the bomb is off, so Earth is safe for now. Then, out of nowhere, something insane happens. Lobo gets skewered from behind by his own ride. Deathstroke reappears riding Lobo's cosmic bike, ramming right into him at full speed. Deathstroke flies the bike straight through the hull of Starpoint, but we know Lobo doesn't stay down. He pulls himself off the spike and crawls toward the driver's seat where Slade is. Lobo starts wailing on him, trying to knock Slade off, which, at this height, would be instant pancakes. Slade gets thrown off, but manages to hang on to the back of the bike. He's not done yet, not by a long shot. He leaps back at Lobo, only to get punched again. But Slade has an ace up his sleeve. While dangling there, he sticks a thermal detonator right onto the bike's engine. As the bike screams higher and faster into the atmosphere, Deathstroke lets go, falling away while Lobo keeps climbing. Slade looks totally chill about falling from the sky. It's clearly all part of the plan. Lobo, blinded by rage, doesn't realize his bike is a ticking time bomb. He's just dreaming of seeing Sheba again. Down below, Slade starts the countdown. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Boom! The bike vaporizes in midair with Lobo on it. That's gotta be it, right? Meanwhile, Slade is falling toward Earth with a smirk on his face. And then he pulls a total James Bond move. Deathstroke has a jetpack hidden in his gear. He stabilizes his flight and heads back to Starpoint to meet up with Zealot and the rest. Inside, Primus is tied up, while Tigor and Callista have already bailed. Zealot tells Primus he should be grateful Maxim gave them a home, but Primus drops a bombshell. Maxim was just using the Omegas as lab rats. Still, his revenge doesn't justify the body count Lobo left behind. Soon after, Maxim arrives with a fleet of helos. He thanks Slade for a job well done, but Slade is fed up. He decides to give Maxim a piece of his mind, and a fist to the face. He calls out Maxim for experimenting on aliens and creating threats like Lobo. Deathstroke declares the Omegas are done being Maxim's puppets, and Zealot will be watching his every move. Then Deathstroke kisses Zealot, which, honestly, felt a bit unnecessary for the plot. But okay, Slade leaves them both behind, ready to put this mess in the rearview mirror. At least he got paid. Peabody, basically Deathstroke's version of Alfred, is waiting by the road with the car. They drive off, but I've got a feeling Lobo isn't actually dead. These stories never really end that easily. Check out this cliffhanger. At the very end, Maxim's men are moving a mysterious, massive crate. Maxim calls them to make sure the package is secure. And guess who's inside? It's Sheba. She's floating in a stasis tank, unconscious. Maxim's final orders? Scrub all data on her. No one can know he has her. This guy never learns. So, that's the story of Deathstroke Volume 2, issues 9 to 12. What do you guys think? I thought it was a blast. The dynamic between Deathstroke and Lobo was top tier. Huge thanks for watching. If you have any requests, drop them in the comments below. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Comic Leap so you never miss another superhero breakdown. I will see you on the next Leap. Bye.